joining me here. Thrilled to have in person. It's about time.
I know.
From Fox Sports and Fox Sports Radio, Jay Glazer.
I've been a bad friend, man.
No, you have not. You're a good friend.
I'm a bad friend. No, I'm supposed to come. He calls me, I think, 3-4 times a week, every week since you started the show. All hours of the night. Yeah. And we get off on other tangents, so I'm sorry about that.
Well, it's good to see you, bud.
You too, buddy.
Good to
great,
see
man.
you. Thank you.
Have you dropped some weight?
Thank you for noticing. Thank you for noticing. I have.
I pick up on things like that. Yes.
Yes, I have. And I haven't been in your gym.
Thanks a lot.
I haven't been in your gym.
You are unbreakable. Come on in.
I would love to.
Absolutely. You need to come up there.
Who hasn't been in? I guess I'm the only one.
Well, you're the only guy who hasn't. You know, and the thing is, people think it's just like for pro athletes. It's not. We're about 15% pro athletes, but we're trying to make it like the Soho House of Training. So it's all kind of successful people around successful people. And you have like, one point you could have like 25 NFL players here. The Rock is over there, Usher's over there, Miss Universe is over there, hedge fund agents, actors,
it's funny because
fighters.
Because I think of Soho House, I think of staring at women and drinking martinis. That's what I think.
Well, that's over by the one of the machines.
Because that's not part of your gym.
No, it is. But we're on top of a bar though. We're in Pink Taco. We're actually in the actual Roxbury. You know the movie? We're not in the Roxbury, right? That's our place.
Ridiculous.
I'm dead serious.
I love it.
I'm dead serious. Right under Chateau Marmont.
When do you have time to do an information gathering?
What are you talking about? In the middle, while Randy Couture is smashing my face, I'm like, oh, got scoopage calls, and I take it, and it actually is my out. And especially if I'm getting like my butt kicked, like during practice one day, I'll start texting guys like, hey, do me a favor and call me in like 2 minutes, like in the break. And I have somebody who monitors the phone. So let's say we're training, and all of a sudden, oh, Jay, Mike Tomlin's calling. I'm like, oh, scoopage, gotta go. And they realize at the point of like, you're so full of crap, Glazer. You're just trying to get out. You're damn right I am.
Will you give me scoopage here? Because Fox Sports Radio. I know I'm not Menifee and this isn't Sunday morning and whatever. And you save the good stuff.
Whatever. Yeah.
No, you know.
Just
This is the good stuff.
Just that.
What's going to happen with Sean Payton? What's going to happen with your guy in New Orleans? Is he going to stick there?
I'm sorry, you're going to have to watch Fox NFL Sunday for that.
Come on. What do you think can happen?
I can't give it up here.
What do you mean you can't give it up here?
I can't give it up here. We'll see what happens.
That means it's something to give up.
We'll see what happens.
That means it's something to give up.
Yeah,
is there any smoke there? Is there any smoke?
No, there's smoke. Yeah. I will tell you, there's a lot of stuff that you are hearing about it and about whether he goes, where he goes, under the conditions are incorrect. They're not accurate. Yeah. A lot of them are not accurate.
They're not accurate.
Yeah, a lot of them are not accurate. Not saying he's not staying or going, but just under the conditions and it's not accurate.
But 4-8 is definitely not something.
Here's the other thing too. I will tell you this about the hot seat. The hot seat is the worst. Besides the LA move, it's the worst reported story in sports. Because every year, you'll start, before the damn season starts, we start talking about hot seat, right? And you'll get 20 coaches that are supposedly going to be fired at one point, and obviously 7 are. So it's 13 stories that are incorrect, which is a really crappy percentage to get things right and wrong.
But you nailed the Harbaugh stuff. You were talking about Jim being toast.
Before the season.
Before the season.
Because there were things going on before the season that led me to know that.
Right.
But that wasn't speculating on whether or not Jim Harbaugh was going to be gone. That was me reporting as fact that Jim Harbaugh was going to be gone.
All right, so then let's try to outsource, and by that I mean outing sources. How does a DeMarco Murray conversation, Glaze, with his owner on a plane?
Yeah, I was kind of looking at that.
Get out. How does that get out?
Obviously, it's people related to. I would think. Look, I can't out a source, but you're going to look and go, obviously, it's somebody with DeMarco, because Jeffrey Lurie's not going to do it. And I'm not saying it's DeMarco either. DeMarco, DeMarco was the first guy I ever trained coming out of college. So I've known him for years. And believe it or not, the way I knew him, his kind of pseudo-uncles, the Fertittas own the UFC. They've been tight with him forever, and they've helped him out. And, man, love him. He's been around the UFC for years, and that's why DeMarco's tough, man. You ever shake his hand?
Of course.
AP is the only.
Right. They come from the same area.
So
obviously.
We've been real good for a long time, but DeMarco does not have a big circle of trust. He doesn't have a lot of people he's going to go out there and yap about it to. So that's the only other thing. Like, he's not the type to go call a bunch of media guys and go, oh, let me tell you what happened.
Right.
But you know what happens in the league? It's the greatest game of telephone. Everybody talks.
Everybody talks. It's like a soap opera.
Right. And it might also have been, it might have been Lurie saying to somebody, oh, man, this guy came over, he was talking to me, and, maybe they're, I think that DeMarco I don't think they get him, and I don't think he gets them.
It's clear. Yeah. This is clear. It's not a fit. This is 100% clear. It's not a fit. Is Chip Kelly a fit in Philadelphia? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think if his system, here's the biggest thing. Chip's system, in my opinion, is a brilliant system. And you're going to go, what? The system is brilliant because it's about pace, right? Pace will beat talent every day of the week.
You believe that? Well, I mean, obviously, if you're talking about conditioning,
is dragging their tongue across the mat, absolutely, or the grass, yeah, absolutely. But you got to execute that, you know. And if you can't do it, here's the biggest thing. What I love about that, and that's our style of training, guys, too. Hey, like I look at it like I have no athletic ability whatsoever, right? But we will convince you to just pace, and wear that guy out across from you. And when his hands start going on his hips, he starts gassing over there, and you start seeing it, and then you start ramping the pace up. That's when you win. That's when you break people. And so I love that style, but you got to be able to execute. You got to be able to see, okay, look, he's starting to wilt. He's starting to put his hands on his hips. He's starting to break. And then you got to be able to see it and ramp that up on somebody.
I'm here with Jay Glazer. Let's take a break. We're going to come back. I'll talk a couple of more subjects with you.
A couple of more?
Yeah, well, I mean, because I know, yes, a couple of other subjects with you. I love that.
He's like, do I really have to invite Glazer?
Well, no, Peyton Manning. I want to know what you know about that. And I also want to know what's going on with your MVP program as well, because I saw that. And the star of ballers, it's not The Rock, it's this guy right here, Jay Glazer.
Do I pick my Emmys up, or do they send them to me? Do you know what?
Del Tufo, do you pick your Emmys up, or they send them to you?
They send them to you.
They do?
They're shipped in a really cool box.
Well, then I'm missing 9 of them because they have not shown up.
Well,
I'll call them. I vote for them, too, so I'll give them a call.
Oh, my gosh.
I can hook you up.
We're back in 60 ticks of the clock here in a minute. Tyrann Mathieu with Jay Glazer on Fox Sports. That was from last Sunday, and it was a piece that you taped with Tyrann, who everybody in the Cardinals organization is telling me he's many people's favorite.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of favorites to have in that building. And what he's made of his life is remarkable.
That was the biggest thing, the reason why I wanted to do it. And you're around guys all the time who kind of claim that they've changed, and we get bought in all the time because you really do want a redemption story. He has. I mean, the stuff he said, even stuff that we didn't use in that piece, and that's what you love about a guy. A decision takes a fraction of a second to make, right? You're screwing up your life. You don't have to sit there and wait for things to turn around. He literally looked at himself and said, I've got to change now. That's it. I got to make a decision. I'm changing, and I'm going with it. And everything you hear about this kid making that decision, he really has. He is. And the crazy part is they got so many big names there, right? In Fitz and Peterson and Carson. He has become the face of the town, not just that team, the town, because he is paying it forward. He's like, all the stuff that God gave me this great ability to do something great, and I try to squander it 14 times. And, he said, look, I'm sitting in rehab, and people are laughing at me that I'm in there for weed. And I felt like, yeah, I don't have a problem. Then he goes, no, I do have a problem. I'm here for a reason. They can laugh all they want. I need to get through this.
Well, I remember when he was at the Combine, too, there was a lot of scoffing that he was a third-round talent. Why would you take a shot on him?
He blew off the Seahawks interview. Even with that, and we didn't put this in the piece, but I stood right there and said, hey, full disclosure right here, I ripped you. I ripped the hell out of you coming out because you were squandering some. With all these kids having the ability, you were squandering it. So I'm telling you right now, I don't see the same guy now that I do that. But, man, I thought you were going to be a complete bust. And he said, talking about who he was when he was that guy, and he said, yeah, it sucks to be that guy.
Let's talk.
I don't know that guy anymore.
Let's talk about your MVP program. Yep. No doubt, as well you should, and everybody should be. MVP, merging vets and players.
Yes.
Walk us through all this.
You know what, man? I have started this program. I go to vetsandplayers.org. I train a lot of NFL guys, and they're done, and I train a lot of military guys. And Nate Boyer, who former Green Beret.
He's sat in this chair a couple times.
Played for the Seahawks. He's living with me. Okay, so he's living in my casita. He's like my Kato Kalin right now.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. Because the guy's been living like Iraq for all these years. And then he goes up to Texas and the Seahawks, and he's like, he was going to go back to the military. I said, no. Hold on. Let's stay here and let's start doing stuff. But we're sitting there talking tonight about some of the problems that these vets are going through, and him too, like he keeps going to the VA, and these players. The biggest thing is, okay, I'm starting to take the long way there, is when you talk to these ex-NFL players, you talk to these vets, emotionally they're kind of dealing with the same thing. So I've matched them up together. And
the same thing about what to do next?
Yeah, in the transition. So I'm matching the two up together. I'm having them walk the walk together and go on these retreats, these kind of empowerment retreats. As you know, football players, they look up to combat veterans. Combat veterans look up to soldiers. Look up to NFL players.
Sure.
And it is amazing how much they bonded together. Our first guy here was a guy named Orrin O'Neal, played for the Raiders for a few years, blew out his knee. And there was 7 other soldiers. We paired them together at a place called Boulder Crest out in Virginia, which was created by like the original Hurt Locker guy for the Navy SEALs. And we really showed these guys, we gave them that bond back, that brotherhood back, you know? And the biggest thing is, I want NFL players to look at themselves. Every time somebody's finished up, the transition is a problem because A, they miss that brotherhood, but B, they look at it and go, man, I used to play in the NFL. No, look at it this way. I used to play in the NFL, right? I'm different than everybody else. Same with our veterans, our soldiers. They go overseas and say, be all you could be, right? And you're everything you hope somebody could be in a person. You're leading this country. You're disciplined. You have grace under pressure, right? You could follow instructions. You're loyal. Then they come back over here and they look at you like, oh man, you're damaged, right? No, I want them to look at it and go, no, you're different. You're elite. You're not like everybody else.
So if there's a former player out there or a vet who's listening or watching right now,
please go to vetsandplayers.org. What we've done also, we've created this coaching team. It's me, Nate Boyer, Brian Banks, Randy Couture, who's a former military guy also, Brian Stan, who's a former military guy, UFC fighter, Orlando Sanchez, who is the current Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion, but 7 years ago was a junkie and made a choice to change. And that's it. We're giving these guys everything in life is about that choice, how you view things, right? Again, don't look at it like, oh man, I used to play in the NFL, I used to be a soldier. That's not who you are. What was behind your rib cage that got you to be an NFL player or got you to be this elite warrior, that's who you are. So that's the traits that you need to use moving into the next stage of your life. Am I gonna lie? Does the transition suck? Yeah, it sucks, right? It does, but a lot of things in life suck. It's on you to overcome it. So there's kind of 2 roads you could take. One of them is life or death, you know? And a lot of these soldiers, there's 22 a day that are committing suicide.
That's what Nate was telling us 22. When he came here, yeah.
And a lot of it's because they don't see that hope and they don't have that worth and that value. And we're trying to coach them up and get them to see what that value is, what that worth is. You're not like the rest of the world. You're different. And that's a good thing. Most people look and go, I'm different. They just want to be a face in the crowd. No. I'm different, right? There's something different about you than everybody else. Use that. Walk in a room, find that next thing, and use that same elite thing that's inside you, behind your ribcage, to take over the next part of your life. And you got to empower them to do that and show them that path. And I couldn't be more. Obviously, you can see I'm incredibly passionate about this man.
Vets and players.
That guy Orrin O'Neal, said, you know, I didn't know you a week ago, and you saved my life. And we had a couple of soldiers said the same thing, and I told him and Danny Trader, who's the soldier in the video, I said, you guys were both thinking one way, that you're not choosing life. And a week later, we called and got in touch with you. And now look at all the people that you're gonna end up saving. You never know what lies around that corner. So make sure we always choose life.
Just 1 week. MVP, merging vets and players,
yes.
vetsandplayers.org.
We need all the help we can get to, because right now it's me and Nate, and as you know, Nate and I are just idiots. So we need a lot of help with everything we possibly can.
Your roommates right now, as it sounds. Good on you, Glaze.
Thank you, buddy.
Good on you.
Very, very pumped about this,
Jay Glazer on Twitter, also on Instagram. The UFC this weekend, you got any thoughts on this?
Yeah, you know what, man? Normally I'd always say Jose Aldo, who's been one of the greatest fighters we've ever seen. Not sure if Conor McGregor's in his head or not, but I just think stylistically, Conor may actually be a bad matchup there for Jose. And first of all, he knows how to throw a fight, pitch a fight. He really knows how to sell it, is the word I'm looking for.
Sure.
But you could also see anything could happen. You saw Holly Holm and Ronda Rousey. Anything can happen on fight night. So even though Jose hasn't lost in a billion years, anything can happen. And then the other fight you have there, Luke Rockhold and Chris Weidman, that's the only one I can't get a read on that one. Tight with both guys. Chris and I are both Renzo Gracie disciples. We're known about each other for years. Luke and I are real close. I can't. The only fight in a long time I cannot get a beat on.
Is it? A lot of people are saying it may not be right to tell Holly Holm to chill out until Ronda Rousey comes back, as Dana White's supposedly doing. What do you think about that decision?
I think it's a smart decision because I think the fight that's going to happen between it's July 9th or whatever, that will probably be the biggest pay-per-view in history. And you got to be a businesswoman. Don't even have an attempt to have another storyline come up in between that, or don't have even an opportunity where she could lose the title. Then you lose it. It's still, hey, look, the great thing about fighters, is you fight because you love it, and it still is a business, and a big business now. You got to think that way.
All right, well, you got time for one more segment?
Sure, buddy.
Okay, because we got Brent Musburger coming up, and we also have Brian Billick coming up. We also have Willie McGinnis coming up, and I do want to ask you about Peyton Manning.
Good.
And did we get a response from the NFL about my campaign to join the catch committee?
In my left hand here, Rich, I hold a response from the NFL, an official response.
From the National Football League?
From the National Football League.
From a PR intern.
I think I'm going to...
No, this is high up the chain.
What's high up the chain?
Is it really?
It's BMAC, Brian McCarthy.
Brian McCarthy?
No, it's big.
I mean, that's
huge.
That's executive suite right there, man. Did I just give him a raise? Did I just give Brian McCarthy a raise? I've got Glaze right here, Brent Musburger right behind you. Your phone calls at 844-204-RICH. Also Willie McGinnis, also Coach Brian Billick, and Jay Glazer for one more segment here on this Friday Rich Eisen Show. Jerry Steinberg just texted me. He watches every day. He watches every day.
It's my guy.
You ought to. Do you want to read what you texted me? You ought to go to Glazer's gym. Jews with muscles.
No, Jew. That's about it. Yeah, we have a couple of them. Yeah.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at this video. It's you with the guy who got the fumble recovery last night.
Yeah.
Calais Campbell.
Notice who's moving who. That's right. Come on now.
Now, Calais is what, 6'8"?
6'9", 330.
I mean, here's the leverage on him, though.
That's it. It's See, here's a lot of things we do with these guys, with our football players. Number one, we teach leverage. Okay, and he's 6'9", so if you go straight up, that's when you're going to lose. You got to teach him to kind of come under.
Is he the biggest man that you've?
Yes, he is the biggest man that's ever put his hands on me. Kyle Long, by far, is the strongest guy.
Really?
Who's ever put his hands on me. You have no idea how bad it sucks to train with Kyle Long, to wrestle with him. And then he gets tired, and he's like the Twin Tower coming to, boom, he's on you. And that's why I have all these disc problems. And then, so I'll have him and hold mitts for him and like 30 guys. And then Chuck Liddell will come in. He starts throwing. And by the end, my hands are like this. And it's so bad. Thank God, we got this $135,000 laser in the gym. Laser, seriously. It penetrates like scar tissue and inflammation, 6 inches. And it's the only reason I've been able to continue to do anything, because these guys tear me up. But,
no kidding.
But we teach these guys leverage.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's body-on-body work. These 3, 4, 5-minute rounds. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do. So I tell these guys all the time, you're doing 3 minutes straight here with a 1-minute break, or 5 with a 1 minute, 12 seconds with a 1-minute break. Better be damn easy to you. And then we teach hand violence. We do an awful lot of this hand fighting, especially. We have the same stuff for our defensive ends we use for our receivers. We did Martavis Bryant, Odell Beckham, and then we teach kind of that fighter mentality. We get that pace and wear somebody out.
That's the most important muscle of them all, man.
Again, I'm 46 and Jewish, man. I got no business wrestling with guys like Calais Campbell. But the only reason I will beat him, I told him, and I want to sound cocky, is because I will friggin' beat him. That is it.
Look at you and Calais Campbell. Can you say that one more time before we go?
Yeah,
that's incredible. Look at you with Calais Campbell.
Man, you got to make people fear for their personal safety, right? That's what you're trying to get these guys to do.
Look at you at leverage, Glaze. Get in there, Glaze. Get in there.
But the biggest thing with Calais is they kept saying he's not violent enough. He's not violent. That's all they kept saying.
I've got a couple minutes left with Jay Glazer.
How come I don't have a song like that?
You could have one.
I want a song.
My pal Jay Glazer.
No,
stop. It's terrible.
It's horrible.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
What's going on with Peyton Manning? How's this going to finish up? Crystal ball it.
Crystal ball it?
Yeah.
I think, it's kind of odd because it's not so much the injuries. It didn't fit that offense.
No question.
For 17 years, he did it one way, and then all of a sudden you ask him to do it another way, and you're taking his strength has never been his arm. His strength has been all that other Omaha, all that crap, and then he gets defenses out of place, and that's why his receivers are wide open. And he's just another guy here, and he's not seeing stuff. Brock is a much better fit. The interesting part is that he's like one win away, and they do want to get him that one win from the record. And I don't know how they're going to make that happen, but they want to make it happen. The one thing, Peyton and I talked about last year when he was going back and forth on the retirement, and I've been through it with a lot of friends, whether or not, the Tony Gonzalez's who went back and forth, Strahan was going back and forth, Urlacher, guys like that. And I say, hey, man, it's your decision. Don't make your decision based on what we say, because that's what happens. Guys make it, and they read it, and you should retire, and I guess I should retire, and they go, oh, what'd I do?
But Peyton's his own man. I mean,
yeah,
we know
but that was the whole thing, though. It was like, so I think he looked at like, okay, this will be my last year, thinking that he would go out his way, but this isn't going out his way.
So you think he plays next year?
I think there's a good possibility.
Well, who would raise their
hand?
And say, who's going to say, I'll take Peyton Manning at age 40?
Look at what's out there for quarterbacks. Are you kidding me? Oh, my goodness.
To take 1 year like a jet flyer on Brett Favre?
Why would you not?
I don't know. Look, I love the guy, but, I mean, if he can't stay healthy through a season, that's a problem.
But, yeah,
when it all comes down to it.
I think if he was getting this offense,
yes.
Look, I don't want to talk about a guy's injury, but because I'm not that guy.
Sure.
But he played through 2 torn quads last year. And, he's always kind of got it. I think the injury came at a good time for them. Right?
Sure did.
To give them an opportunity.
Well, also
they
helped
see
that
Brock
Peyton
as well.
It's also helped that Peyton helped win the first 7 games of the season for him, too.
Absolutely. But he was struggling a lot with that, right? And they had to change the offense right off the bat.
Put him in the pistol.
More of the pistol, right? Yeah.
All right, Glaze. We have an email from the NFL from Brian McCarthy. I want on this 6-catch committee, this 6-member catch committee. I've got a great idea. I've got ideas. I talk to fans every day here on the Rich Eisen Show. I know what a catch is and what the fans want. Can I get on this committee, Chris Law?
Yeah, so we asked for a statement on why you were omitted for consideration. And here's what Brian had to say. Rich just missed the cut for the committee.
Oh, my gosh.
We spent tens and tens of seconds reviewing Rich's qualifications.
Oh, my gosh.
And experience catching footballs. Reports came back that despite improvement in your 40 time, you're still a heavy-legged waistbender with hands more suited for hand modeling. Stick with catchphrases and not pass catching.
Wow!
Why didn't they just respond yes or no? I mean, wow.
I mean, at this point in time,
what did you do with these people?
I think a grassroots campaign is in order. Help make the catch great again.
We got another
What's
one,
another
too.
Slogan? What do we got?
Another poster. We're going to put this out on Twitter at Rich Eisen Show.
It says catch. It's like the Obama picture.
The catch
just says catch. Yes, catch. Yes.
You know what catch is like?
We can believe in.
Remember the old Bugs Bunny where they're selling insurance? You're like, okay, you only get the insurance on like every Thursday on a rainy day with an elephant going through and a baby zebra. That's the same thing as a catch. A catch is only a catch when you got a baby zebra run across the field when it's raining in a dome on a Wednesday.
Make the catch great again. 844-204-RICH and tweet at Rich Eisen Show or me at Rich Eisen. Let's make this happen. Glaze, thanks for coming on.
Love you, buddy. Appreciate it.
Vetsandplayers.org.
Yes,
Go there for the MVP program. Good on you, sir.
Thank you, buddy.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.